your hand physically and I'll try to.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that for the time being.
Janice, you might need to give me the ability to share screen as well. Jai Baba.
She's
All
done
done?
it already. She's done.
Perfect, perfect. Done. Awesome.
Okay, time to start. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Janice, could you start with the prayer, please?
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more, and more and more, and still yet more, till we become worthy of union with you. And help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman till the very end. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Jai Baba Bhai.
Baba, everybody. Before we commence, I'd like to invite our one and only Meher Baba to please come and take over the proceedings of this meeting. And not only just take over, but let everything happen during this meet as per his wish. Because in the final analysis, it is only his wish that prevails. Jai Baba. There are a few announcements to be made. One is last Monday, we lost a very senior and a sincere Baba lover by the name of Mr. Bade. This Mr. Bade was from a small village called Pathardi, and he was a lawyer by profession and had met Baba several times. In fact, he was very close to Baba. And the reason why I find him so special was that he had this unique gift of repeating Baba's name all the time. In fact, so much so that they've taken a video of his last moments whilst lying down and breathing his last, and he kept repeating Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, until he silenced and went to Baba, his maker. So that was an exemplary thing for all of us to remember, to make him our constant companion, remember him all the time, and then, of course, when the last moment comes, he comes to receive us. There's a very famous anecdote which Eera Jasawala used to share about Jesus and Peter, but that is another thing, some other time. Today, we also have a lady's birthday. Her name is Zenia Dalal. She will be joining us a little later. Her birthday was a few days back, in fact, day before yesterday, I think. So we will also sing a very happy birthday at the end of the program. By then, I hope she turns up here at the center. And that's it. So, Mr. Prem Pavan, for those of us who haven't been in the last meeting, all I would like to tell you is that it's not very often that I get to not interview but share with a vice president of a company. He's laughing, but it's true. And when I told him that, he said, forget all that, I'm just a Baba lover, and that is his goodness or greatness or whatever you call it. He's the son of our Geeta Jairam, who does the tremendous work for Baba. Last meeting, all this was discussed and described, and my inner feeling is that God's work never stops, and it is only us who get these opportunities at times to serve Him. So whatever chance we get, including this Mr. Prem Pavan, please try and take us a few steps closer to Baba. That is all that I ask for. Thank you, sir. All yours, Pavan.
Thank you, Samji. Thank you, Jai Baba. Jai Baba to everybody in this session, and I'm sure the recording will also go out to a broader audience. Yeah. So I'm very, very happy to be here. Today, I'm a little more experienced in this group, in this space, compared to 1 week ago, where I was an absolute amateur. And it feels like a long week, because long week of work and long evenings and meetings and this and that. And by Tuesday, I was waiting for Thursday today. So Baba has made me feel so much at home in this space, so to say. You already invited Baba into this meeting, Samji. So Jai Baba. And let me continue, or let me give a very quick 2-minute summary, 2 to 3 minute summary of what we covered last week. And then I'll continue with my, so to say, my journey.
Prem, may I request you to speak up a bit louder, please? You're
Okay.
not deaf around here, you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to speak up a little. I hope it's better now.
Haji, thanks.
Okay. So last week, when we met together and I spoke about two topics really. First, how Meher Baba came into our lives through my grandfather, and from him to his children. My mother, my two uncles are here in this call. I can see both of them. So some of the siblings took to Baba, and they're all strong Baba lovers. So I spoke about that. And I spoke about a second topic about some of the projects that my mother got involved with. But the theme of that particular topic in terms of projects, etc., is how Baba works through us. If we can think of ourselves like an ant, a small ant, inconsequential ant, ants have the ability to carry loads 10 times or even multiple times heavier than themselves, do big things by carrying weights and loads which are much heavier. So those projects was basically an explanation of how Baba helped my mother, who was a simple homemaker, right, to be able to do a few projects such as, distributing Glow magazine, the Meher Amrut powder, producing a music CD of, songs uh, uh, with the words coming in from our very own Meher Baba, and being able to kind of collect funds, etc., to be able to support my very good causes. So Baba has sometimes when we really truly with a pure heart try to do something good, right, in some way with the right intentions, we spoke about how Baba gives us that multiplier effect in a way to be able to deliver something which is bigger than us, right? Something which is beyond us. Something sometimes we don't even know how to go about it, and direction paves itself for us to be able to tread that particular path. Okay. So that's the summary of what we covered last week. This week, I'll try to share a little bit of my own journey. I want to give a very important disclaimer and a terms and conditions apply statement. I am a simple Baba lover, um, evolving, learning, like all of us over here. Uh, I am just grateful for this opportunity to share my views and my experience. Yeah, and I say that in all humility, Jai Baba, to be able to be given this opportunity. Uh, all of us have our own relationship with Baba, our own unique relationships with Baba, and I'm just here to share a bit of my own relationship with Baba, right? So that is the intention. Jai Baba. Okay. So let me just. Do you want me to take a quick break, Samji, or so far so good?
It's perfect, sir. Carry on.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll just put this over here. I'm repeating a little bit of what I started presenting last week, but because I started rushing a bit, I'm going to start off with this. Okay, so uh, my apologies if it's like a repetition, but I'll just go about. So, like I said, in my early days, from very early days, I was exposed to Baba through my mother, through my uncles, through my family. Yeah. And as I said, I used to be a bit of a scapegoat for my mother. She used to read books and then she used to explain those concepts to me. Say Baba sayings, desires, ego, sanskaras. These were words that I didn't understand for the longest period of time, but I've heard at a very young age, you know. Uh, so at that point in time, I used to hear sayings like this, real happiness lies in making others happy. And I would say, really, we try to make others happy. People take advantage of us. People take us for granted at times, you know. So, what does that really mean when Baba says real happiness lies in making others happy? Every time I tried to make somebody else happy, I felt that I ended up losing something, you know. So it just, I wasn't able to really understand this in a full sense. Okay. Also, a very common thing that I used to learn in my early days was don't indulge in hypocrisy, in backbiting, right? You will get bad sanskaras. So, first of all, I wasn't able to understand what is the meaning of sanskaras. I would, when I would ask that, they would say, my mother or somebody else would say it's impressions getting created. But frankly, it was very academic. I wouldn't really understand what that meant, right? And hypocrisy, backbiting, how do we get something bad? Uh, Seemed something that I just couldn't understand. There was another factor that I would never able to reconcile about Baba from a young age, all the way until not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago, is when I got a sort of some reconciliation in my mind. But Baba used to keep saying, I'm the ancient one. I'm the one. There were examples of Quaker oats, why do you go for the old fashioned stuff? Why don't you go with the latest? You know, there have been stories with his Mandali, for example, with Padri and a couple of companions as well. They were in near a Shiva temple, and Baba got very offended at times and said, why are you going to somebody else when I'm there? And to me, in my limited understanding at that point in time, was why is Baba so possessive about his lovers? Why is he seeming to be always saying that, come to me, kind of a thought process used to keep coming in my mind as well. Don't worry, be happy is a very nice saying. It's a nice, famous English song as well. I remember back in the days. Um, However, it's easier said than done, right? And similarly, hold fast to Baba's Daman. What is the guarantee? Life will be great if you hold on to Baba's Daman. So these were sayings. Uh, I followed it because my mother told me so, all right. But I didn't quite understand many of these things, all right. And in the meanwhile, like I mentioned, I grew up with the wars happening at home, where my dad was a Rama lover, mom was a Baba lover. Dad didn't quite believe too much in Meher Baba. Um, Rama was a much more well-known god, so I felt more reliable. Meher Baba was a very relatively unknown god, So there were early questions in my mind, about Baba. All right. I used to speak a lot. Deep inside, I knew that it was at a very superficial level. My my mom used to keep asking me, "Do you love Baba?" I would say yes, but it was more out of fear of my mom rather than any real attachment or connection that I felt at an earlier age of my life. So, excuse me. Um, so that was the early days. Time passed by, and from a eight-year old, I transitioned into a 15-year-old, and then went into my 20s. Went through my education. For those who are in Bombay, I happened to spend some time in Mumbai as well, 2, 3 years there. Life went past, life went by. I got into the corporate world. So I got into work space, right? And I can say that it was probably in my mid to late 20s when I started getting more and more into work. And I had a 3, 4 years phase where, I started facing huge confusions in my life, huge challenges in my life, corporate politics. So in the corporate world, I couldn't make sense of how do we take these spiritual lessons that I have gained and gathered from a very young age. How do we take that and apply that in the world, in a real world sense, right? I just wasn't able to reconcile that, right? As I said, like, corporate is a very aggressive world. It can be a dog eat dog world. When I looked around me, the people who seem to, be very clever in playing games seem to be going up the corporate ladder, you know. And somehow the people who seemed very nice, very good, very straightforward, very simple, they were nice, but they didn't seem to be growing up the ladder. What's right, what's wrong was a huge confusion that came into my mind. How can I take these lessons that I've learned about Baba and apply it in the corporate world? It just didn't make sense to me. Okay. But it was beginning to, the confusion started getting to me. And frankly, in terms of my career as well, it started off very slow. I was not like a fast mover very early on in my career. Okay. So that's how it was. There were social conflicts, right? I used to keep looking around me, and I used to look at the facade or the cover or the exteriors that people would show in social relationships. Somehow I felt that the reality was different. Bahar se kuch, andar se kuch aur. And that factor used to kind of keep making me wonder what's the best way, right? I used to at times wonder that I was losing my own real self as well in this whole social race of trying to project myself as something cool, successful, something that I wasn't. So I went through that phase at the same time. And there were, of course, these inner conflicts as well, right? How do I go about it in terms of life? So there was a very intense period of a few years where I had quite a few failures in terms of my life on all multiple counts. And through all of those experiences over 3, 4 years, I'd reached an absolute bottom in my life. Nothing very, very intense in terms of a depression or anything of that sort. But it was quite a bottom in my life where I just felt like I was losing. I was not not making something good of my life. I was not doing well enough. I didn't feel good about myself in the context of how my life was going. I wasn't happy. There was sort of a vacuum, that feeling that there was something empty and sort of a vacuum that was there. And it was at that point, and I feel that when you reach a very desperate situation in our lives, when we feel that how what where here from now, right? What next in our lives, right? When you feel the most down and desperate in your life, Sometimes when you go to Baba and say, take over, right? Do something, take over, right? I really, really don't know how to go about this at this point in time. I feel that the listening of Baba tends to increase better. This seems to improve at that point in time. So that's what happened. Uh, I started having conversations with Baba, and you know, at a very desperate plea, please, Baba, help me. I'm not able to get that clarity. I don't know how to kind of move forward from here. I seem to be very confused, and so on. And on all counts, be it on a personal basis or a professional basis, I seem to be feeling quite stuck, right, in life. And slowly, I felt like I started getting answers in my mind through situations, through people, and so on. And now I'm into my, at this point in time, I'm just hitting my 30s, early 30s, very early 30s at that point, when at some point through these conversations, Baba, for me, in my experience, transitioned from being God on a pedestal somewhere up there with all these teachings, transitioned from being that to being a companion, to me. And to me, that was my biggest sort of transition in a way, because it became a sort of a person I could talk to. Became, Baba says, right? I should be closer to you than your own breath. So he became that companion to me, and that was the journey that progressed over the next 15 to 18 years to this point in time, right? So I'm going to take you through some of the ways I try to apply that in my current life from a corporate perspective and otherwise as well. But I'm going to take a pause again. And Samji, all good so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So
थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी भी बीच में घुसा दीजिए प्लीज.
ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. हिंदी इतना अच्छा नहीं है, लेकिन मैं बात कर लूँ जितना भी.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, okay. Jai Baba. So, as I've mentioned, at least this has been my experience. मेरा अनुभव है कि जब भी हम जाते हैं बाबा को और एकदम सिंसियरली मांगते हैं, कुछ मांगते भी नहीं, just be with me, Baba. I'm in this situation, I'm in this car, take over the steering wheel because I'm feeling a little out of control, right? I'm feeling a little directionless. I'm feeling a little vulnerable. I'm feeling a little weak. थोड़ा ऐसा जब feeling होता है, when you have that kind of a feeling, right? Somehow, if there is a sincere enough call, a sincere enough request in that particular space, generally speaking, through either other people or through our own inner voice or conscience or through situations, I have at all times got some sort of an answer, some sort of a response. That's been a really, really big learning for me. And sometimes it's simple, we're going through a very tough situation. Say, Jai Baba, what's happening? Blah, blah. Suddenly I'll get a WhatsApp message, Baba message from somewhere. And somewhere that message seems to be an answer or give some sort of a direction, right? Where we would like to go or where we would like to be. Okay. So that's been a very big part in terms of triggers, our ability to be able to authentically, with our heart, being able to call out to Baba. And somehow, when it is genuine and real, I tend to get that response back. वो response आता है, जवाब आता है, जब सही से, सही में दिल से जब हम लोग पुकारते हैं बाबा का नाम और बाबा को, तो इनवेरिबली एक जवाब आता है through a situation, through a person, and so on and so forth. Okay. Another big thing, एक बहुत बड़ा जो challenge था, like I said, was in the corporate world. बहुत बहुत बार we end up with very difficult situations. Several times we meet very difficult people. Sometimes they're unreasonable. Sometimes we don't know what's their real agenda and what they're playing. And my initial thought process was, ठीक है यार, हम लोग सीधा, let me do my work in a very सीधा fashion, right? And let's see, जिनको खेलना है, whoever plays their game, it's their sanskaras, I mean, something like that. But what was happening is that, I was not able to get the outcomes in my corporate life. It's very outcome driven as well, right? I mean, we need to get results. We need to be able to achieve successes to be able to be recognized in the corporate world and keep moving, right? So what do we do in this particular kind of a situation was a huge confusion to me in my work life. And that's when at some point I got a strong insight. These are my personal insights. I feel Baba gave it to me, but these are my personal experiences and personal thoughts. Let me just mention that. And somewhere I got this insight, यार मेरा जॉब नहीं है, इट्स नॉट मेरा काम नहीं है किसी और को क्या सिखाना है, क्या सबक सिखाना है. वो लोग खेल, they are playing out their sanskaras. I'm playing out my sanskaras. And what is really important, and we have to be able to then therefore take out the personal aspect of that particular situation. Yeah, he's trying to do this, he's trying to do that. Instead of that, the clear message or insight I got further was to do what is right for the situation without any malice, without any malintention, without any negative energy. And whenever I've done that, and I always give myself the analogy of how we sometimes choose to get angry with our children. We're not really angry. There's no malice when we get angry with a person, with our kid. But we choose to get angry at times in order to deal with a certain situation, right? So I take that as the analogy to be able to kind of, deal with some of these situations. And then when I correlated that with Baba's teachings at all times, Baba ka teaching has always been about intentions. Baba talks a lot about आप पूजा पाठ जो है, जो कस्टम्स है, those are not the most important thing. आपका जो दिल में है, सही में जो प्यार है, the real love that you hold in your heart, right, is what is important to me. Correct? It does not matter what you show, right, as an exterior. What matters is inside. Intentions is always something that Baba talks about, right? So somehow that kind of appealed a lot to me. So in dealing with various life situations, I also kind of slowly kind of understood how the sanskaras seems to play out, and a collection of different sanskaras, how it creates certain tendencies in ourselves, right? So, sorry. So started realizing that in my own case, right, this whole tendency to self-victimize myself or feel negative in certain situations, behaviors of eating more food at times, spending more money, whatever that might be, many more such examples, was a tendency that was a function of sanskaras that were playing out, impressions, right? And what I understood was that awareness is really, really important. It's the starting point, right, of being able to do something with it. Just to be able to be aware of certain behavioral patterns, certain sanskaras playing out. Right? वो बहुत जरूरी था. And so in many of the scenarios where I was not able to really kind of, I was forced to, with habit or with a bad habit, sometimes I would say, Jai Baba, I'm leaving it to you. You need to take care of me now on this. I'm finding it very, very difficult to be able to manage this on my own. खुद से बहुत ही मुश्किल हो रहा है. अभी आपको थोड़ा आके थोड़ा कंट्रोल लेना है. You'll have to take over and help. Again, a lot of things around success versus humility, meaning on the one hand, we want to be humble, we want to be simple, but we're also trying to achieve some success in our work. How does these two things work together is something that constantly came into my mind. Outcomes versus integrity. When sometimes we need to work towards outcomes, but do it in a way which is honest. But as Baba says, to be tactful in the way you go about your whole thing. Thoughts drives emotions, which drives actions, is a very, very important piece or a learning that I have always tried to kind of work around, right? Work towards what can be changed and what cannot be changed. Be aware of that. Dealing with fear and accepting it. These were certain values where Baba played a very, very big role in giving some insights. And if I have to summarize the way I've dealt with this in my own personal way with Baba's help, it is just to have that awareness. It is always to focus on the intention with which you're doing something. If the intention is coming from a good place, then do what is right for the situation. There's something that always gave a clarity. And this whole thing about accepting certain situations, especially that are out of your own control, was a great big insight that I got in my own companionship and my own experience with Baba. Sometimes it is what it is, right? And it is our ability to, we have the concept of the free will, where it is our ability to respond to these situations, but there is also certain things which is out of our control. It is what it is. And the ability to at times be able to accept those situations was something that I draw a lot of strength from Baba over a period of time, right? In my own experience. And in the end, I would like to talk to you, of course, about the whole concept of surrender to Baba. Holding fast to Baba's Daman is a concept, if you will, or an understanding in my own journey, which I feel has been extremely powerful for me. You know, like I've said, there have been situations like all of us face sometimes of very big challenges, and I feel that I cannot see light at the end of the tunnel, or I feel, how do we solve this particular problem? Right? And in those times, us samay, to be able to just say, Baba, please take over. You know, आप steering wheel, take over the steering wheel, गाड़ी का control आप ले लीजिएगा, आप चलाइएगा, क्योंकि अभी जो है मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि गाड़ी को चलाए कैसे at this point in time, you know. And to me, that was the simple sense of what I took out of holding fast to Baba's Daman, to be able to surrender in a sense to Baba, especially in situations which were extremely difficult or I did not have control on. In my prayers as well to Baba, it's changed over time. Again, as part of that constant companionship and conversations, that I've experienced. I used to ask a lot from Baba in the past. ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, ये कर लीजिएगा मुझे. But now I just ask for Baba to be with me and give me the strength to deal with the situation as is needed, in the best possible way. You know, not specifically asking for specific outcomes, but asking Baba to be there to give me the strength to deal with that particular situation. I would like to kind of, speak about this. Eternal silence helps to achieve inner silence. And only in internal silence is Baba found. In profound inner silence, I am never silent. I speak eternally. The voice that is heard deep within the soul is my voice. The voice of inspiration, of intuition, of guidance. Through those who are receptive to this voice, I speak. And I bumped into this particular saying of Baba. And if I kind of reflect back to, in my own life, not all the time, maybe 20% of the time, I'm able to connect to that inner voice. And whenever I've been able to connect to that inner voice, there is that feeling that it seems to be right. It seems to be truthful. It seems to be connected to something bigger than what I am. And it's always held me in good stead. Jai Baba on that. Sorry. So coming back to these questions, which was, how have the same questions that used to create a lot of confusion for me back in the days when I was younger, how do I look at these same sayings? What has been my personal interpretations of this? Real happiness lies in making others happy, right? And whilst I misunderstood this to be ki outward pleasing, what I have misinterpreted this is to be outward looking. And meaning कि ऐसा नहीं कि हमेशा किसी और को खुश रखना है, खुश करना है. कभी कभार we have to deal with the situation कि we might have to, किसी को डांटना पड़ेगा कभी कभार ऐसा होना चाहिए कि we want to send a different signal, right? But removing ourselves from the equation and focusing on somebody else at all times is my interpretation, my simplistic interpretation of real happiness lies in making others happy, And that's how I try to kind of look at it in terms of the professional context or personal context. Sometimes we have to do what we have to do. कभी कभार नौकरी में कुछ कुछ करना पड़ता है जहाँ पे something is not working right, we need to let the person know this is disappointing, या ये वो फलाना ठिकाना बोलना पड़ता है. But it is still speaking in the interest of something external to ourselves. bahar, looking outward, looking with the intention of being considerate, compassionate, service oriented externally. That is my simplistic interpretation of real happiness lies in making others happy. Sanskaras, again, my simple thing, it took me a long time to understand the samskaras. I mean, of course, it's the law of karma and karmic impressions, but just to be able to understand, what do these impressions mean? Yes, Samji?
Sir, the biggest example
Yes.
of real happiness lies in making others happy is right under your nose in your family, your mother. If you look at Gitaji's life, she really works on that principle, is what I feel. Thank you.
Jai Baba, at this point, she's my mother. I will keep quiet. I should reserve my comments. But Jai Baba on that. Jai Baba on that. Yes, it is. It is thinking about other people, their comforts, and sometimes it is, I mean, doing something which might be stern with them, but it is in their interest that we do something that might be uh, stern. So, Jai Baba, Samji. So coming back to the sanskaras piece of it, you know, all I take away from that is our behavioral patterns and tendencies that are driven by, our past life experiences and our current life experiences that is contributing to certain impressions. The more and more we indulge in those tendencies, those sanskaras become stronger and stronger. Okay, that is my understanding. What I could not understand for the longest period of time was that when I started hearing about the fact that at the end of the day, you have good sanskaras and you have the bad sanskaras. Even when you do something good or positive, that's creating a sanskara. Even when we do something negative, that's also creating a sanskara. And I was like a little confused. So what do we do? Should we stop doing good things? Because that's also creating sanskaras. But it is to be able to have that impressionlessness in some sense. Baba talks of poise. It is the ability to be able to have that poise, irrespective of positive situation or a negative situation. It is that strength, that inner strength that we're able to have, irrespective, to me, was what I understood in terms of from a sanskaric footprint. But more importantly for me, sanskaras was a lot about the energy levels that gets created through these different behavioral patterns and tendencies. Don't indulge in hypocrisy and backbiting. You'll get back sanskaras. I couldn't understand that. Baba famously, or not famously, but speaks about, if A and B are talking about C in the absence of C, behind C, and they're talking something negative about C, then that's considered backbiting. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, we do so much of that. We do so much of that on a daily basis. It's almost difficult to be able to get rid of backbiting. But how does that create sanskaras, bad sanskaras? And what I realized was that, yeah, I mean, that's the negative energy that we are indulging in. And it is strengthening the tendencies that putting somebody or talking bad about somebody, getting pleasure out. That tendency is strong, getting strengthened by constantly indulging in it. That's again my humble interpretation, Jai Baba, of constantly indulging in backbiting. So if we are able to kind of not indulge in that, then we are not constantly creating this negative energy amongst ourselves. Things are more positive, things are lighter. It's like backbiting and hypocrisy is like having heavy masala rich food, oily food. ज्यादा खाएंगे तो ज्यादा heavy feeling होता है, ज्यादा heavy feeling होता है तो productiveness कम हो जाता है. So in that sense, it kind of adds to the calories, it adds to that heavy feeling, it adds to a negative energy. If we want to stay light, then we need to be able to avoid that. Now, does it mean that I'm evolved and do not indulge in backbiting? Nahi, nahi. It's one of the toughest thing to get rid of. But I think it starts with a certain sense of awareness. It starts with a certain sense of checking ourselves, not to do it. But, we're not perfect. I'm certainly not an evolved soul. we keep trying, we keep trying, we keep fighting, we keep evolving. Um, I am the ancient one. This was one very thing that took a very long time for me to really understand. And it's not until COVID where I felt I got a reconciliation on this thought, because I genuinely felt Baba seems to be very protective about his followers, in a way. Don't go to anyone. I'm the modern thing. Come to me, kind of thing. But my simple interpretation on this count is Baba is the ancient one. We are all Baba lovers collected over here. We have that conviction, we have that belief. But Baba has always tried to draw us away from us, from our ego, from that I, me, myself mode. And the concept of focusing on Baba takes us away from ourselves, is my simple interpretation of it. To move away, further and further distance away from that feeling of the I or the ego. Baba talks of in the literature, there is provisional ego concept. To be able to kind of keep moving and focusing on Baba, to move away from ourselves. That is the sort of my simple interpretation of this. And don't worry, be happy. Right? It's not that uh, easy as we've all grown to see. But my simple interpretation is like this, if I have a job, and I'm searching for another job with a job in hand, right? uh, the process is not very tense, there's no stress, because हाथ में नौकरी ऑलरेडी है, काम काम हो रहा है, मैं दूसरा नौकरी के लिए ढूंढ रहा हूँ, और टेंशन stress free है. I'm searching for another job, I have something in my pocket already, right? So there's nothing to fear. You try for whatever is the best and see how it works out. So to me, that is the analogy of, if we have Baba in our hearts, close to us, then what is there to fear? You do your best. We already have a foundation with Baba. Keep trying what we have to do. Good things will happen, bad things will happen, right? Have that kind of, that's the analogy, or that's the sort of the comparison that I tend to keep having. Okay. So that's how the evolution has been. I'm going to conclude this with a recent experience of mine. There've been multiple experiences, but in as a summary, right? I've had my own simple journey, like many of us over here, about Baba. There was a big transition from him being the God with these sayings, which I could not understand, to him being a companion, to be him somebody who's been a friend, for me to be able to have that conversation, Jai Baba. And at times, my understanding has evolved in my own simple way. Some of them right, some of them wrong. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, he is with us as Baba lovers. He's always there with us through thick and thin. Simple small pause right now. Jai Baba, Samji, are we good? And then I can move on to my last experience, which I would like to share with everyone.
At this moment, I'd like to throw open this platform to anybody who wants to ask any questions before we move on to further experiences of Premji. Anybody wants to ask anything, please go ahead now.
Ask or make any comments of their own as well.
Ji, comments also, yeah. Cherry, go ahead. कोई एक तो मिला.
Thank you, Sam Uncle. Jai Baba, everyone. Jai
Thank
Baba,
you, darling.
Pavan ji.
Jai
I'm
Baba.
a little inquisitive, and I also asked Ravi directly. I can see Uncle Sai Prabhakar Irabulu, and I see they share the same surname. So I was wondering, who is he? And seeing his age, I felt that he must have met Baba. So Pavanji, if you can share something about him.
So
Thank you, Uncle.
they're all brothers, Cherryji. My mother has taken care that if there is no audience today, at least my uncles and my mother will fill up the audience. So, so I've got Prabhakar ji is the elder brother of both my mother and Ravi Erbolu. So two brothers and one sister over here in this audience. He is the elder brother, but he has not physically seen Baba in his past. but a very strong Baba lover, Dr. Prabhakar, based out of Vijayawada.
Thank you.
Jai
Uh,
Baba.
Yeah,
Nagendra
Prem,
Prasad ji, go ahead.
Jimmy Khan Prem,
हाँ जी, go.
Jai Baba.
like
Sir.
Jai Baba. I've been a corporate guy like you. My pointed question is a little awkward. Has there been times when you felt like compromising your morals and your Baba lover vis-a-vis your corporate life? Any tempting, any chance? Whatever.
Yes, at all the time, sir. Uh, Especially in the context of, I'll give a few examples. Backbiting is a great example. There's a lot of times when we do sort of reviews about other people, how their performances are, and we work with our bosses and other stakeholders, and that conversation quickly transitions from reviews of a person's work to sometimes getting personal about the person himself or herself. ये बंदा ऐसा है, ये बंदी ऐसी है, ये ऐसा होता है, ये ऐसा होता है, which I feel is sometimes wasteful time. I feel it is more of backbiting rather than really judging the reviewing that person's performance. And I've had to suck it up because my boss may have indulged in it, and I have to kind of appease him or her in the past, and or I don't know how to deflect it, or I may have been tempted to myself indulge in that conversation. So that is one very common scenario that I faced in the past. There have been scenarios in the past where I've had to take a side, um, and I just feel that Baba's voice inside is um take a position which is right, and somehow I have felt that taking that right position might be detrimental to my job at that point in time, and therefore I may have taken the other position, feeling very guilty that I didn't listen to the voice of Baba in my heart. And I felt scared of taking that position. Nothing very heavy duty, but simple things, I'm talking about within the realm of, it's not in the realm of ethical, unethical. No, it's within the realm of normal realm. But, just simple decisions. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, yes. Yeah, this tightrope walking goes on in a corporate world.
Constantly, sir. It's such a thing. But at least from I can share that how it's evolved, at least for me in the last 5 years or 7 years, is I try to take a more honest approach with my teams and even higher ups. Um, I try to expose my vulnerability at times. I don't mind. I've been much more open to exposing my vulnerability. And that has helped in different times. I don't use the word Baba, but I've just tried to take a more vulnerable approach. I'm a human, and right now, something to that effect, so it's helped at times. But Jai Baba.
Thank you. Thank you. And I've had the pleasure of meeting your mom a few times
Okay, so that's great. Yeah.
at Bangalore and at Mehrabad, both.
She has spoken about you, sir, to me as well.
Thank you.
She's there. If you see a name called iPhone, that's her in this call. iPhone bolke.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jai Baba.
Okay, Nagendra Prasad ji, very briefly, if you want to ask something. Nagendra Prasad.
Mute. You're mute.
Yes, yes. Jai Baba, sir. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Nagendra.
Jai Baba, sir. It is really nice speech. And as you're also an employee in corporate sector, I was also an employee in the state government of Andhra Pradesh Forest Department. So I too come across such situations where Baba's teachings and the realities on the ground clash with each other. Really
Yes.
well explained, sir. So nice spot. Thank you. Really great session. Jai Baba.
Jai
That's all.
Baba. Nagendra Guru. Jai Baba.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Prem ji, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I will sort of I'll leave you with one last story. And I was speaking to Sam G when he and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, and I shared this experience with him. Actually, my mom had kind of shared the experience to him, and he asked me about it, and he felt, and for me to, it'll be nice to just share this story. We all have experiences, small experiences where Baba listens to us, or we have a plea, and we feel like he's listened to us, and in some way he has come back to us in some form. Or so right now we're in December, we are in November, end of November, going to be December. So around 6, 7 months ago, back in April this year, I was at work on a, like any other day, in my office, between two meetings, on my laptop doing something, and I suddenly went through a bit of a health situation, um, uh, in matters related to the heart. I mean, I was, there was some discomfort, and there was essentially a health issue that happened. Nothing very dramatic. I was good. I felt a little bit of, discomfort, and I decided to kind of go to the doctor. And, all of that led to a point where, within a span of 48 hours from that incident, I needed to go to the hospital the next day. So this probably happened, let's say, on a Wednesday, and on Saturday, I needed to go to the hospital and go through a procedure, a sort of a surgery or a procedure, which was fairly serious. Yeah, not extremely, but yes, yeah, it was. Uh, and uh, through this period, right? So I said it happened on Wednesday, and let's say now I'm on Friday. And, of course, my immediate family, in the sense that my wife was aware of the situation. And I'd also called up my brother at that point, who lives in the US, Houston, Prem. So I'd called him up and explained the situation to him, and I knew he's a strong guy, and I knew that he will listen to it quickly, readjust to the situation, and then if nothing else, he'll be a huge pillar of strength for me, in many ways. So that was exactly what he did, and he started talking very practical aspects, about things. And then I asked him, "Mom को बोलना है क्या? She's blissfully unaware in Bangalore. I'm in Singapore. You're in US. Uh, so should we inform my mother, right? My mother, who, as people who know her, lives alone in Bangalore, uh, Kiran, my brother's response was, "यार, अभी बोलने से क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? Like, only thing is she's going to be stressed and tense about the situation, and she's not going to be able to do anything about it, and so it's not going to help the situation. She will be stressed. So let's not inform her right now. Let everything finish, and then we can talk to her, peacefully." So I said, okay, makes sense. Then I picked up the phone, and this was a Friday, I distinctly remember. Next day, Saturday, I need to have this procedure, and I called up my wife, asked the same question: should I tell my mom? And she also told exactly the same response as my brother. So I said, "ठीक है, अभी छोड़ो." But inside my mind, I had this strong thing that I need to tell my mother, because I have a strong belief in her prayers, and I was feeling a little tense about the procedure the next day. And I know, if she knows this, she will start doing Baba prayers into the night. She will start maintaining silence. She will start sending me some messages. It's a huge thing, and she'll send these photos of Baba blessing and these kind of things. And it's a big thing for me. I needed that. I felt that would be a big help. Uh, so that was the thing, and it was there in my mind. But I knew जो मेरे भाई और my wife was saying also made sense, कि क्यों क्यों unnecessary tension. ठीक है. Anyways, now, whilst I'm in this thought on a Friday, half an hour later, as I was thinking through it, out of the blue, there is another Baba lover. Her name is Nomita, who is based out of Singapore itself, and we were not in touch. We got in touch in the beginning of COVID, 2020 May. 3 years we are out of touch, yeah, completely. We just know each other. Out of the blue, I get a WhatsApp message, "Hi, Pavan, how are you?" "Oh, I'm fine. How are you?" Just thought I'll say hi. Jai Baba, and she sends me a photograph pretty similar to what my mother would send with a, that blessing sign and a sort of a Baba photograph, And I'm not kidding you. At that point in time, I was like, wow, Jai Baba. I mean, this is what somehow I felt like that my voice was heard. I wanted my mom to do something out of the blue. A person whom I'm not in touch with sends that photo, and it gave me a certain sense of this is Baba's way of listening to me and sending me something. It gave me a huge confidence. At that point, I was feeling very clear. Good. Next day, I went through the procedure, everything. I was there in hospital for a couple of days. I returned, and I'm talking to my uncle who's there in this call, Ravi, Dr. Ravi Erbolu. And I was telling about the procedure and everything. And he said, this person, Namita, she reached out to me out of the blue. They know each other by chance. She reached out to me out of the blue and asked me for your number, ad hoc, just like that. And I gave her your number. And I said, really? And then I explained this whole background story to him of what I was thinking and all of that. So it's a simple story. I always get, I don't like to over dramatize the situation. Neither do I. Baba says, don't get drawn by all these kind of, phenomenal stories, etc. But to me, it was a great experience. Um, as I said, it coincides with my strong belief that with the purest of hearts, when we reach out to Baba, one way or the other, he has his way of using people, situations, uh, events to kind of come back, listening to you and doing something. If it comes with this pure heart and not from a place of selfishness, that is sort of my experience and my strong faith and belief. So thanks for having me once again. I'm sorry if I bored you with my own journey, but thank you for having me, Jai Baba, and it's been an absolute pleasure being in this situation. Jai Baba.
Jai Mai Baba. Ravi sir has raised his hand, so let's hear what this man with mustache has to say.
Thanks, Pavan. It was a beautiful story, very touching story. The last story that Pavan was talking about, he left one small detail behind. He's a smart guy, very smart guy. Everything he does, out of book and, But this time what happened is, the thing is, if we love Baba, he takes care of us. We are not good at taking care of ourselves, but he takes care of us. That is the point here. So I just like to add one point, Pavan, if it's okay with you.
Jai Baba, yes.
Okay. Pavan was involved in corporate flow, He got this pain, and good enough, he went to the doctor. And doctor suspected, hey, this is not an easy thing, you need to go to a specialist, you need to do this. He said, okay, and he came out, and guess what? My nephew, my most intelligent nephew, instead of following the doctor, he was coming home to take care of his meetings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And thank God there are lights in the Singapore. He stopped at the stop sign or stop light, and he found his Sala, brother-in-law. Sometimes brother-in-laws help, And he went there just to chat with him, and he said, hey, what's going on? Where are you going? Blah, blah, blah. And he told the situation. And the brother-in-law insisted, no, you should not go home. You should go to the specialist. You should go right now. So he had to, with the force of his brother-in-law, his wife's brother, he had to go to that specialist, and thank God that averted his life, if I may say that. And see, it's all Baba who does all these things. even though we may not be smart sometimes, but Baba takes care of us. All we need to do is just love him, you know. And I was so surprised. Namita, out of blue, asked me, "Hey, you have a nephew here. Why did she get the thought of Baba contacting Pavan?" I have no idea. And I gave him the number, and she sent this picture to Pavan. You know, Baba, see how Baba takes care all of us at the dire needs, you know. I just want to bring out that salient point. Jai Baba.
Thank you very much, Ravi sir. This little detail was of immense importance to this anecdote, actually. Usme se, one thing that stands out very clearly is one of my very favorite quotes of Meher Baba. Once you become mine, जब तुम मेरे हो जाते हो, I dare not, care not. So that meeting of the brother-in-law and rushing him to the hospital, etc., was all as per Baba's wish. He, like Premji said it in his own ways, that he sends help through unknown areas, and this is exactly what has happened to him. Anybody has any more comments or any questions to ask before we let this young, handsome Vice President of Red Hat Corporation go?
Healthy person now.
Healthy, absolutely healthy. Yes, 100% healthy. Bolo, anybody wants to ask any questions? Do it now or hold your peace forever. Chalo, nobody. Okay.
Jai Baba.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's exactly 7 o'clock. We shall now go into Aarti and prayers. And after that, we observe a minute silence. And after that, we sing a very happy birthday song. And then we shall part. Thank you. Jai Baba. Premji? Prem?
Yes, Jai Baba.
Maybe request you to stop sharing the screen.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Do it on the focus on Baba's picture.
Of course, yes. Oh, Jai Baba.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
हे परवरदिगार, सबके राखनहार और सबकी रक्षा करने वाले, तुम्हारा कोई आदि नहीं है और न तुम्हारा कोई अंत है। तुम अद्वैत हो, तुम तुलना से परे हो और तुम्हारा पार कोई नहीं पा सकता है। तुम्हारा कोई रंग और कोई रूप नहीं है। तुम आविर्भाव से रहित हो और तुम गुणातीत हो। तुम अपार हो और अगाध हो, कल्पना और धारणा से परे हो, शाश्वत और अनश्वर हो। तुम अखंडनीय हो और दिव्य नेत्रों के सिवाय और किसी भी प्रकार से तुम्हें कोई नहीं देख सकता है। तुम्हारा अस्तित्व सदैव था, तुम सदैव रहते हो और तुम सदैव रहोगे। तुम सर्वत्र हो, तुम हर वस्तु में हो और तुम हर जगह से परे तथा हर वस्तु से परे भी हो। तुम आकाश में हो और पाताल में हो, तुम व्यक्त हो और अव्यक्त हो, तुम सब लोगों पर हो और समस्त लोकों से परे भी हो। तुम तीनों भुवनों में हो और तीनों भुवनों से परे भी हो। तुम अगोचर हो और स्वतंत्र हो। तुम सृष्टि के रचने वाले हो, स्वामियों के स्वामी हो, समस्त मनों और हृदयों के ज्ञाता हो। तुम सर्वशक्तिमान हो और सर्वव्यापी हो। तुम अनंत ज्ञान हो, अनंत शक्ति हो और अनंत आनंद हो। तुम ज्ञान के महासागर हो, सर्वज्ञ हो, अनंत ज्ञान रखने वाले हो। तुम भूत, वर्तमान और भविष्य के ज्ञाता हो और तुम स्वयं ज्ञान हो। तुम पूर्ण दयामय हो और सदैव हितकारी हो। तुम आत्माओं की आत्मा हो और अनंत गुणों से संपन्न एक परमात्मा हो। तुम सत्य, ज्ञान और परमानंद की त्रिमूर्ति हो। तुम सत्य के मूल हो, प्रेम के महासागर हो। तुम सनातन सत्ता हो, ऊंचों में सबसे ऊंचे हो। तुम प्रभु और परमेश्वर हो। तुम परब्रह्म हो और परात्पर परब्रह्मा भी हो। तुम परब्रह्म परमात्मा हो, अल्लाह हो, इलाही हो, यजदान हो और मज़द हो और प्रियतम ईश्वर हो। तुम्हारा नाम इज़्ज़त अर्थात एकमात्र पूज्य है। हे असीम दया के निधि प्रभुराज, हम अपने सब पापों के लिए पश्चाताप करते हैं। हर एक विचार के लिए जो असत्य, अनुचित या गंदा था, हर एक बोले हुए शब्द के लिए जिसे बोलना हमें उचित न था, और हर एक कर्म के लिए जिसे करना हमें उचित न था। स्वार्थ से प्रेरित हर एक कर्म, शब्द तथा विचार के लिए तथा द्वेष प्रेरित हर एक कर्म, शब्द और विचार के लिए हम पश्चाताप करते हैं। विशेषकर हर एक कामुक विचार तथा क्रिया के लिए, ऐसे हर एक वचन के लिए जिसको हमने पूरा नहीं किया, और सभी निंदा, पाखंड, दंभ या लोगों के पीछे उनके दोष बताने के लिए हम अनुताप करते हैं। और खासकर दूसरों का नाश करने वाले हर एक कर्म के लिए, दूसरों को दुख देने वाले हर एक शब्द तथा कर्म के लिए तथा दूसरों पर दुख गिरने की इच्छा करने के लिए हम अनुताप करते हैं। हे प्रभुराज, आप हम पर असीम दया करके हमारे किए हुए पापों को क्षमा कीजिए और वैसे ही आपकी मर्जी के अनुसार विचार करने में, बोलने में तथा कार्य करने में जो हमारी असमर्थता सदा रहती आई है, उसको भी क्षमा कीजिए। यही हमारी आपसे प्रार्थना है। प्रियतम परमात्मा, हमारी ऐसी सहायता कर कि हम तुझसे अधिक का अधिक प्रेम करें, और अधिक और अधिक, और फिर भी उससे भी अधिक प्रेम करें, जब तक कि हम तुझ में मिलकर एक हो जाने के पात्र बन जाए। और तू हम सब की ऐसी सहायता कर कि हम अंत अंत तक प्रियतम बाबा का दामन दृढ़ता से पकड़े रहे। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
भुजावे नार जहलतनी कर खुद रत्न फरमातू छलागी आश भक्तों ने की बख्शे नूरे मातू अयामुर शाद मेहर बाबा चरण पर तुझ न दरिए सर खुदाना जात थी वाकिफ थई बै तो मेहर बातू तुझे माँ लिख हकीकत नो तू आशिक भी ने आरिफ भी तुझे दरी या वहदत मारिफत नो हो ही तूफान तू अमोर है रावने सालिक बख्शे ज्ञान इज़दनु के तू पर मात्मा ज्ञानी छने मुख तारीर फातू खुदाना प्रेम नो प्यालो पिलावी मस्त हमने कर छे तुझ पर जान सदके साखिया पीद पे मातू हमारी नाव भर दरिए तरावे तो हमें तरिए हमारा ना खुदाए मेहर बाबा छनिगे बातू हमारा ना खुदाए मेहर बाबा छनिगे बातू भुजावे नार जहलतनी कर खुद रत्न फरमातू छलागी आश भक्तों ने की बख्शे नूरे मातू। तार मेहर बाबा की जय।
हुआ लहर से ही है जिसकी सृष्टि का निर्माण, उसकी दैवी अनंतता का कैसे हो अनुमान। आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, नमो ब्रह्मा आओ मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ। प्रेम दीप में ही ये जलाओ, प्रेम दीप में ही ये जलाओ। निबिड़ अंधेरा मिटता पाऊ, निबिड़ अंधेरा मिटता पाऊ। अपना सब कुछ तुम्हें चढ़ाऊ, अपना सब कुछ तुम्हें चढ़ाऊ। तुम मुझको सरसाओ मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ। जीवन की हर सांस हमारी, जीवन की हर सांस हमारी बन जाए प्रभु गति तुम्हारी, बन जाए प्रभु गति तुम्हारी। हे करुणा कर लीलाधारी, है करुणा कर लीलाधारी। तुम करुणा बरसाओ मेहर प्रभु, आरती अपनाओ मेहर प्रभु, आरती अपनाओ। बने आरती जीवन मेरा, बने आरती जीवन मेरा। आदि अंत का लय हो घेरा, आदि अंत का लय हो घेरा। खुले नयन और दिखे सवेरा, खुले नयन और दिखे सवेरा। तुम मुझ में छा जाओ मेहर प्रभु, आरती अपनाओ मेहर प्रभु, आरती अपनाओ। आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन। नमो ब्रह्मा आओ मेहर प्रभु, आरती अपनाओ मेहर प्रभु, आरती अपनाओ। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय, अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय, अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Thank you, everybody, especially Pavanji. You have, instead of your Prem Pavan, you should be Prem Pavan. I keep saying that because that love is divine. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us. And now we have to celebrate birthday of two of our members. One is Mani તમારું કાર્ય ગયું આ તો મંગળવારે ગયું ને. She's cheating now. Okay, so Mani's birthday on Mangalwar, that is Tuesday, and today is her son's birthday, and of course one of my very favorite ones who sings Buzavenar very beautifully, and today she has changed her trouser also. Xenia. I see in her a very budding worker for the center. May Baba bless us all. So let us sing a very happy birthday to Mani, Firoz, and Zenia. Happy birthday to you. Everybody, happy
birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Mani, Firoz, Zenia. Happy birthday to you. Avtar Meher Baba.
Jai.
Thank you, everybody. We
Jai
bring
Baba.
closer to this Jai Baba. We bring a closer to this session now. All I can say is take Baba with you. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.